Use the DVD on the top over there. Well, I'm Martin Ferguson, your local member and of course Minister for Resources and Mining. And I'm here to warn you in respect of the dangerous policies of the Greens. What these dreamers forget is that Australia has huge deposits of all sorts of minerals, including brown coal, gas and of course 30% of the world's uranium. And I am on record as saying that there should be no restrictions on the mining of these vital exports. None at all. Why? Because in this unpredictable world, I think we should quickly sell as much as we possibly can now that the mining boom is ending and the meltdown of the market system is coming on, except in Australia, of course, under Julia Gillard and Swan. I have done my best as Minister to discourage and delay any alternate energy sources developing. As Minister for Mining Profits, modesty makes me reluctant to claim sole credit for saving Australian working families from the great 2008 global financial crisis, because it was all done with the aid of the mining industry, with whom I have a close relationship, and an even closer one when I retire from Parliament. We should be grateful to them. I know I am. I ask you voters, when the rest of the world comes to green madness and goes to renewable energy, do we really want to be left with tons and tons of brown coal and uranium that we can't sell? In respect to brown coal, of course, the naive Greens oppose it just because it pollutes the air. But be sensible. If we export it to China, they'll burn it there and not here. So that's another Green beat up. They just want to sit under a tree and weave baskets with no jobs, protesting against the national interest. But voters, there are dangers. Simon Crean and I have protested in respect of the greed of the mining workers who are taking unfair advantage of the billions of profits leaving this country to ask for higher wages. This is holding the prosperity of the country to ransom, which is why I have supported the importation of whatever foreign workers the companies decide they need, on whatever terms would encourage investor confidence. Now, if you have been talking to some Green layabout, you may have heard of climate change. Well, your Labor government has responsibly considered climate change, and I have invited climate change skeptics to come to Parliament to counter Green fear-mongering. I mean, if climate change happens sometime in the future, and Gina tells me she doubts it, then we should export all our minerals before it takes effect. An underwater island in the Pacific isn't going to need much coal now, is it? But Martin, I hear you say, yes, we think it's great that we should export unlimited coal to China, uranium to India, whatever. We live here, we don't care about that. But Martin, won't it mean that it will run out for us one day? Well, yes, it will. At the end of the day, we need to dust off our plans off the shelf and prepare for a nuclear future. Heaven knows there's all this uranium there. Why should places like India get to use all our top-grade stuff and deny it to Australian working families? Really safe reactors are being built in India, which I'm sure the Indian people will embrace. And if a bit of our uranium ends up in some Indian bombs, why should we care? They probably won't work anyway, and they're not going to use it on us now, are they? Now, certainly the nuclear industry did have a few teething problems like Chernobyl, and to be frank, Japan did have a somewhat nuclear-related incident, but remember, Japan is a very small, crowded island, and we have wide open spaces with only Aboriginal people living there. And of course, it could never happen in Australia because we have learnt the lessons of Japan to keep the press out of it. And at the end of the day, all the waste will be put far away from our neighbourhoods on Aboriginal land at the aptly named Muckaty. So no problems there. Voters, I'm a man of vision. I have a plan for the future. I see a day when municipal nuclear reactors are in every suburb bringing a bright light to the residents. A reactor in the all-nuclear park, the all-nations park, will be a place where kiddies can play for short periods with little or no chance of being irradiated. So forget the Greens with the sun in their eyes and a windmill in every house lunacy, and embrace the fossils of today and the nuclear power of tomorrow.